my co-host Samuel Lee.
That is me.
He doesn't like that name either. And we're live from the studio in downtown Asheville at Radio Cafe on Patton Avenue. And had a good week, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Uh,
Been doing a little turkey hunting. Had the weekend with a bunch of men from the church.
yeah,
I went on a men's retreat, and it's just been a great time.
yeah. I got to christen my fishing kayak, which is going to find much time over in the Watauga River. Fishing the tailwaters, that's why I got it.
I'm worried about you.
You can worry all you want.
It looks like it's not wide enough. You gonna be trying to stand up in that thing, and
No. You can stand up in it, but I won't be.
well, I need a camera when you stand up in
No,
it.
I won't be. I'll be. Yeah. Hey, man, that thing fishes so nice. It's got one of the nicest chairs in it you can imagine. I was in that thing for 3 hours.
Why don't you just share with us how many fish you caught?
One.
Okay. Hey, you didn't get skunked.
No, and I spent a lot of time really just kind of getting used to the boat, with it being the first time I was in the water. And I wanted to do that in the lake as opposed to a river, whether it be the French Broad or, one of the tailwater rivers or something like that, just to get used to it, so, and I did. So now with the blessing of my wife, and as long as I'm wearing a PDF, personal flotation device, PFD, okay, I'll be all right, and I won't get in trouble with her, see?
Yeah.
But anyway, tell us about the turkey you killed.
Well, I killed one yesterday evening. Just happened to see them. Found out there's 2 toms with 3 hens, and there was a ridge between me and them, and I was able to sneak up and get within about 100 yards. And all I had to do is make a few yelps, and the hen came over the hill, and toms were right behind them. I just picked out the first tom that came along because they were both big birds. So this one right here is really, really a nice bird. 1 3/8 spurs.
Cool.
I think he weighed 23 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's
So,
really
yeah,
big.
you asked me about the feathers, and I was thinking, with fly fishing being this month, all the fly fishing people we had in, I was just going to stop by and see everybody and drop them off several feathers, and I figured we'll put it to good use. you
Yeah,
know.
there you go.
So anyway, well, that's cool. I know I've been seeing a bunch, but I haven't had time to get out yet, and really they're still henned up, so there's plenty of time left
They
in the
are.
season.
Yeah, it's not going to get good until probably give it 2 more weeks, and it'll be real good.
Well, that's what I figured. You're going to be gone next week. I'll take a couple baseball players over there and wipe them out. No, I'm only kidding. I won't shoot one. I'll take a couple ball players out there, see if I can get them their first turkey or whatever
Yeah.
it may be. We'll go from there. We got plenty of big birds to choose from.
Yeah,
that's
we
for
do.
Sure. Okay, and then on today's show, man, I'm excited about this. Keeping in line with our fly fishing, trout fishing month here in April. We've got a great guest. His name is John Miko. I got that right. If I get talking too fast, John, I might shorten it. You just correct me.
I'll call you.
And John is a fly fisherman first and foremost, but he's the president of the Lando Sky Trout Unlimited for our area here. So we're excited. He's also, and this really trips my trigger, because I love. Anytime, I grew up. My dad was a homicide detective, and I've always had people in and out of our family. But I just love our servicemen and women, and I love traveling in the airports, because I know you're like me too.
Yep.
I'm shaking their hand. I'm finding them in wherever I go. If I see a uniform, I'm just telling them how, praying for them, care for them, appreciate the job they're doing. So I'm excited about having John here because he's a retired Coast Guard helicopter pilot. That'd be cool.
Well, you didn't tell me you were a pilot. We'll have to talk about that in a little bit.
Now, did you do the search and rescue type stuff?
That in the Coast Guard helicopter world, that's mostly what you do. But you do get
Wow.
involved with some of those other Coast Guard missions, yeah.
See, and now with the advent of reality TV and being able to watch the Coast Guard off of Kodiak, Alaska, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, if I was 18 again, and hindsight's always 20/20, that is the job. That is the type of cutting edge adrenaline type of junkie stuff I love.
Yeah.
Just is. But anyway, we've got John with us. He's got a bunch to share with us on what's going on in the chapter right here in the western part of the state, in the Lando Sky, all the education and conservation stuff they have going on. It's incredible what's going on, and we're looking forward to sharing a part of that with y'all on today's show. And then on our outdoor life segment, we're going to explore how does a salmon find its way from a great big old wide ocean to the same stream to the exact same spawning grounds, sometimes hundreds, even maybe 1,000 miles away, to their original birth spot in the stream.
Yeah, it's
You know?
amazing.
It is amazing. And I know, we've all heard a lot of different things, but the latest information is just out on different studies. Actually, this one study came out of the University of North Carolina, UNC. Okay, so we'll share part of that and how that works. And I'm actually going to share it from a creation standpoint. So it's a great segment. You'll want to stick around for that. But first, we're going to take a partner break, and then we'll be right back with Land of Sky Trout Unlimited Chapter President, John Mico, and we'll see you after these messages.
Supporting the local community. WGNW 95.7, The Choice.
95.7 The Choice would like to thank Dry Pros for their generous support. Dry Pros has 27 years of experience in the cleaning, restoration, mold remediation, and waterproofing of homes and businesses just like yours. Whether it's a routine cleaning or restoration from flood damage or mold, the team at Dry Pros has the experience to get it done right the first time. Cleaning all types of floors, windows, fine area rugs, and upholstery, they cover it all. For more information, their number is 828-277-9511. That's 828-277-9511, or visit them on the web at www.drypros.com. That's www.drypros.com.
Programming at 95.7 The Choice is made possible with the generous support of business partners like Area 22 Guitars. Area 22 Guitars is Western North Carolina's only boutique guitar shop. Whether it's an American-made all-tube hand-wired amp like Matchless, Divided by 13, Carr, or Fargen, or a U.S.-built custom luthier electric guitar brand like Anderson, PWE, Zion, Rowan, or Gatto, Area 22 Guitars specializes in the unique needs of the discerning musician. They carry a full line of boutique effect pedals like Keeley, Exotic, Rockbox, Menatone, and Wampler. And their acoustic guitars include Breedlove, Larrivee, Eastman, Bedell, and Crafter. Area 22 Guitars, not your average guitar shop. For more information, go to area22guitars.com or call them at 828-884-2222. That's 828-884-2222.
.7 The Choice would like to express our thanks to our business supporters like Ichiban School of Self-Defense. Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts provides a safe, family-oriented environment for people of all ages and skill levels to be able to train and prosper, both mentally and physically. Whether your interests are physical fitness, self-defense, competition, or just a healthy outlet for stress release, Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts will provide the tools to reach your goal. Their programs provide a well-rounded athletic approach to martial arts in a safe, fun, family environment. For more information, go to ichibanmma.com. That's ichibanmma.com, or call them at 828-423-0662. That's 828-423-0662.
All right, welcome back to God's Great Land of the Wild radio show on 95.7 The Choice. This is your outdoor host, Brent, here with my buddy Sam. And we want to introduce our friend and guest fly fisherman and Land of Sky Trout Unlimited Chapter President, John Mico. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here with you guys.
It's good to have you. I know we've been pre-show stuff, just been chatting and just about all sorts of different things. And as we sit here talking about helicopter pilots and getting old and eyesight.
We're talking about you getting old.
I don't know about that. You got those little bifocals, John, underneath the bottom part of your glasses, so when you're tying them small flies now, as far as getting them on the leader.
Oh, yeah. And I've got an extra strong set for fishing over on the Davidson, where the flies tend to get really small.
Right.
I've got some true grandpa glasses.
Man, I even got ones now I can hit the buttons on the side and they light up.
Yeah.
I mean, you just find all sorts of things that you need that help you. Like on a cloudy day, you're sitting there kind of going, it's like, I've had enough. But time to nymph fish.
Yeah.
Go big. Anyway, hey, before we get into all the Land of Sky stuff that you guys have going on in your chapter of Trout Unlimited. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in a Navy family, so I've always grown up on the move. And as you mentioned, I had the privilege of serving in the Coast Guard for about 3 decades. So I came to Asheville in 2010, finally, with a chance to try and put some roots down. So as they say, I'm not a native, but I got here as soon as I could.
I hear you. Well, let me ask you this. When did you start taking up trout fishing?
Yeah, as a boy, I lived in the Florida Keys a lot. That used to be big Navy country down there when submarines were powered by diesel engines, and my dad was captain of a submarine. And so, living in the Florida Keys, I just grew up on the water, in the water, around the water, and I got a real passion for fishing, and had my own boat, and so I kind of kept that with me. But it wasn't until I was stationed up in the very northern part of California that I ran into some of my fellow Coast Guard guys who were fly fishermen, and they got me into fly fishing. That's steelhead fishing and some wonderful trout fishing up there, and so I kind of got hooked on fly fishing, and that's.
And you got hooked on fly fishing while in California.
In Northern California,
Okay.
yeah,
Never
which
fished
is
out there.
which is where the rainbow trout is from.
Oh, really?
The rainbow trout is from the streams that run off of Mount Shasta there.
Wow.
They say they trace it all the way back. That's sort of its
Wow.
its birthplace.
So that's the true native trout of that
the
region.
true
there.
origin of the rainbow trout.
Wow.
And then they got a lot of steelhead, which is a sea-run trout as well.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a beautiful country to fly fish.
Does that blow your mind? I mean, I know when I was in Alaska and fly fishing for king salmon, I was catching one thinking, because we've caught them up in Canada. Those are stocked
Yep.
fish. But I'm thinking when I landed that fish, to me it was like, this fish was born in this stream, okay, ran out, lived in the ocean, ran all over the place, and here I am. And I released them all. But it just blew my mind that could get into that really kind of purist type of fishing. So out there in California, when you got to enjoy that, was that part of what drove you to?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's big, beautiful country out there. No prettier than this area, but
Right.
but a different kind of beauty. And you're right. When you spend some time in that kind of an environment, surrounded by nature, it's wondrous. Really, if you think about it, you start to appreciate it more, and then that starts to lead you from just trying to catch fish to trying to make sure that you take care of the fish and where they live, and that's kind of what led me into Trout Unlimited.
And how long you been involved with Trout Unlimited?
About 10 years now.
Okay.
About 10 years, but work and travel never allowed me the depth of involvement that I've been able to have here. But it's a great organization, and if you start thinking about taking care of trout and the resources that they depend on, it's really the first organization that you'll go to. It's
Right.
a big organization, very well known, very well respected.
Yeah, very much so, I think, because I know it's been around for years. Well, share with us then, how long have you been president here of the Land of Sky chapter?
I just took over the presidency last summer.
Okay.
In a lightly contested election, and I was the treasurer for that. And I think they figured if I could balance the books, I could probably run the operation. And so I was a member as soon as I got here, treasurer after a year, and I rapidly rose to power when I ran unopposed for president.
Well, character goes a long way, I'm sure. So as president, share with us what you do then.
Well, I have the privilege and the pleasure of really just trying to organize and focus the energies of about 400 members that we have in the Land of Sky
400
chapter.
members.
Yeah, and
And what area would that encompass as far as the Land of the Sky?
well, we're bounded to the south by the Pisgah chapter, which
Okay.
you would sort of think of as a Hendersonville kind of
Okay.
chapter. We run north quite a ways up toward Tennessee. We can get over into Burnsville area. We have members in that area. If you go too far west, there's a chapter in Waynesville. So that sort of forms the western boundary of our responsibility. So
Big area.
Yeah, Asheville and mostly to the north, but these are not hard lines. We work with the other chapters. We team up with other chapters and the organization at the higher levels, and so just for practical purposes, we kind of try and divvy things up.
Traveling type of purposes.
Traveling too, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, traveling, and we have so much beautiful trout water here in this part of the country that it takes a lot of chapters and it takes a lot of members to kind of try and be good stewards of it. So So that's what I do. Is I just try not to get in the way of a bunch of really, really good folks in our chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know we had Reba was with us last week.
Great American.
You know, yeah, she really is, and I know you kind of released her from her duties of being in, because you guys had a chapter meeting last week, right?
We did. So she had the choice of coming to the meeting or coming here and talking with you guys, and I think she made the right choice.
She did a great job. Tell us what goes on at your chapter meetings. If we were to show up at a chapter meeting, is it just sort of like business, or?
Oh, no. Well, let me start with our chapter meetings are the second Tuesday of every month. And we meet upstairs at the REI store, the Asheville REI store,
Okay.
which is out there just off 240.
Right.
And at 6:15, we hold what we call a skills workshop. You know, we have a lot of folks in Trout Unlimited who are fairly new to the sport, and that provides kind of a non-intimidating environment to help them learn some of the basics. We have workshops on, you know, if you can tie these 4 knots, you can fly fish, you know.
Gotcha.
Or how to rig a nymph rig, or it's basic stream tactics, or even the trout regulations and stuff that you'll face.
Right.
So that's a really popular thing, and it starts in advance of our regular members meeting, which kicks off at 7 officially. So 7 p.m. on the second Tuesday of the month. We try and knock out a little bit of chapter business, you know, treasurer's reports and those kinds of things, and then we'll have a program. Guest speakers, our guest speaker coming up in May is a guy named Dave Penrose, who has forgotten more about the bugs that live in our streams than any of us will probably ever know. And so we try to make it educational. We try to make it interesting. It sometimes has an angling focus. It sometimes is more conservation focused. And,
Right.
And we have door prizes and, you know, the usual
All that
cup
good
of
stuff.
coffee and some fellowship, and it's a good meeting. We try to get it done by about 8:30.
I notice too that there's a lot of our local fly fish shops are participating with you guys, because I see a lot of their stuff on your website that you guys have. So I'm assuming, maybe wrongly so, but it seems to me they're very involved with what you guys have going on too.
They're very involved. We get a tremendous amount of support from the local members, for lack of a better word, I'll call it fly fishing industry, because it really is an industry. It brings a tremendous
is.
economic benefit to our region. And the folks at Curtis Wright Outfitters, the folks at Hunter Banks Outfitters, and we're building a relationship with the fellas and gals at the new Orvis store here as well.
Right.
Orvis has a very large corporate involvement with Trout Unlimited, so we depend on them, and they are tremendous supporters, all of them, of what we're trying to do here, and I think it's good citizenship, and it's good business for them too.
Absolutely.
I'd like to think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to take some partner breaks. You're listening to the God's Great Land of the Wild radio show on 95.7 The Choice. And our guest is John Mico, a fly fishing and president, as a fly fisherman and president of the Land of Sky Trout Unlimited chapter. And when we come back, we're going to get deep into some of the education and conservation things that they're involved with, and we'll see you right after these messages.
Supporting the local community. WGNW 95.7 The Choice.
95.7 The Choice would like to thank Dry Pros for their generous support. Dry Pros has 27 years of experience in the cleaning, restoration, mold remediation, and waterproofing of homes and businesses just like yours. Whether it's a routine cleaning or restoration from flood damage or mold, the team at Dry Pros has the experience to get it done right the first time. Cleaning all types of floors, windows, fine area rugs, and upholstery, they cover it all. For more information, their number is 828-277-9511. That's 828-277-9511, or visit them on the web at www.drypros.com. That's www.drypros.com.
Programming at 95.7 The Choice is made possible with the generous support of business partners like Area 22 Guitars. Area 22 Guitars is Western North Carolina's only boutique guitar shop. Whether it's an American-made all-tube hand-wired amp like Matchless, Divided by 13, Carr, or Fargen, or a U.S.-built custom luthier electric guitar brand like Anderson, PWE, Zion, Rowan, or Gatto, Area 22 Guitars specializes in the unique needs of the discerning musician. They carry a full line of boutique effect pedals like Keeley, Exotic, Rockbox, Menatone, and Wobbler. And their acoustic guitars include Breedlove, Larrivee, Eastman, Bedell, and Crafter. Area 22 Guitars, not your average guitar shop. For more information, go to area22guitars.com or call them at 828-884-2222. That's 828-884-2222.
.7 The Choice would like to express our thanks to our business supporters like Ichiban School of Self-Defense. Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts provides a safe, family-oriented environment for people of all ages and skill levels to be able to train and prosper, both mentally and physically. Whether your interests are physical fitness, self-defense, competition, or just a healthy outlet for stress release, Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts will provide the tools to reach your goal. Their programs provide a well-rounded athletic approach to martial arts in a safe, fun, family environment. For more information, go to ichibanmma.com. That's ichibanmma.com, or call them at 828-423-0662. That's 828-423-0662.
All right, we're back, and you're listening to God's Great Land of the Wild radio show, and we're talking to our guest, John Miko, who is a fly fisherman and president of the Land of the Sky Trout Unlimited chapter. And you can find out more about John and the Land of the Sky Trout Unlimited chapter by going to facebook.com/God's Great Land of the Wild. Okay, John, tell us some of the latest news about that's coming out of the Land of the Sky Trout Unlimited chapter. Tell us some of the latest news.
Yeah, April's been a really busy month for us. We had a fundraising raffle at the recent fly fishing film tour, which was visiting town. That was great. That's how we generate money for our educational programs and our conservation work. And then we all got out fishing. Actually, last weekend we went over Jackson County, just trying to get out of the neighborhood a little bit. Joined up with some of our friends from a neighboring chapter, the Cataloochee chapter, and did some wild trout fishing up there. It was beautiful.
Is it the Cataloochee chapter? Is that that's not the Waynesville chapter?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
Waynesville chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Waynesville chapter. They took that name. I'm not sure if there's an elk fan in there. I don't know, but
Maybe so. I know Brent loves those elk now.
Shoot, yes.
Fly fishing an elk, and you've got his appetite satisfied.
I mean, when you can stand out there and, and blow an elk bugle and they're bugling back at you, or doing a cow call and they're bugling back at you. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I won't even tell you about when we used to fly the coast of Northern California, and the Roosevelt elk
Wow.
would be all up and down
Oh,
the
wow.
beach, all down the beach up there from the Redwoods National Park, just epically beautiful. But so coming up, we're going to be doing have a little kind of a little public relations and fundraising presence at an open house at the Orvis store on the 25th of this month.
Just the one over there. I guess it's the only one here at Biltmore Park, right?
At Biltmore Park, that's right, yeah. And we're that's a dedicated fundraiser for our River Course Conservation Camp. And then in May, as I mentioned, chapter meeting, second Tuesday, I think that's 14th of May, 12th, second Tuesday of May, anyway.
okay.
And so we got a great program set up for that as well. So it's been real busy for us lately.
That's good.
yeah. Tell us about the River Course Conservation Meeting. I mean, you mentioned that.
Sure.
What exactly is it? What goes on?
Sure. Education and the nurturing of the next generation of advocates for, our cold water fisheries is a really, really high priority with us. It's, in budgetary terms, youth and education programs are Land of Sky chapter's #1 priority.
Right.
And we support both financially and with volunteer resources the River Course Conservation Camp. Now, that's technically run by the state level of the Trout Unlimited organization, but it's supported heavily by the Pisgah chapter and us from right here in our area. It's a week-long camp held up just above Lake Logan there on the west
Okay.
fork of the Pigeon, and it's for boys and girls ages 13 to 15. They take 18, and they learn fly tying, fly casting, fly fishing, and at the same time, all the ecology and all all of what happens in a stream that enables it to support trout, and what we can do to make sure that we take care of those conditions. So
Is this a multiple day event?
yeah, it's a week-long camp.
So
yeah.
are they gonna be
kids,
camping
They
at-
stay there.
at Sunburst?
Yeah, no, it's I think it used to be the old Champion Paper site, and
It's
retreat
right there,
They stay in
right beside the
accommodation.
airport down.
Yeah, right, exactly,
Right
right
on
there.
the side of Lake Logan?
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
it's the Episcopal
Shoot.
Chapel.
The Episcopal- yeah, that's it,
That
yeah.
used to be
I'm
Champion.
15. Can
Yeah.
I sign up?
Yeah, I worked for Champion for 17 years. So
Yes, it's
Yeah,
that
I'm
facility. So the accommodation, actually, by camping standards, is pretty
It's
good.
great. It's a great facility,
It's
yeah.
pretty good, and they fish and work right on that stretch of the West Fork of the Pigeon that comes right into
Yeah.
Lake Logan there. So
Oh,
Good
man.
fishing up
great
there.
program, and a great complement to some of our other educational programs like Trout in the Classroom and some of those kinds of things too.
Okay, trout in the classroom.
Yeah, another program we have where we work with local schools at the elementary, middle, and even the high school level. We obtain and help them set up a chilled aquarium, and we get eggs from the hatchery, and they can hatch out and rear up young trout, and then in the spring, before school knocks off for the summer, they go out and release them, and
Wow.
it helps educate them on the life cycle of the trout, and also how much care an aquarium needs to raise trout in it, how sensitive they are to having clean water and cold water, and there's a lot of great lessons for the kids there, and depending upon the level of school, they may go quite deeply scientific into it at the high school level, a little more basic at
Right.
like Pisgah Elementary, where they have a great group. And we have 4 of those programs going now, and our goal is to add one every year for the next 3 years. So we want to keep growing that program.
Yeah, I enjoyed our conversation earlier. We were talking about, we can go out and fish and stock streams and everything, but if we're not passing it on to the next generation, trout fishing will eventually die out. So we need to be
Absolutely,
passing all these skills, all the care of the trout streams and everything on to our kids. If we're not taking kids out fishing, we're missing the boat.
Absolutely, and they're not going to care about a resource that they don't appreciate.
Right.
And they're not going to appreciate if they don't experience it.
That's
So,
right.
I mean, there's 100 good reasons to take a good kid fishing,
Right.
But certainly one of them is to expose them to what a special thing that is to have that the way we do have in our area.
Right.
And help educate them on their responsibility to be good stewards of that, and then pass it on to their kids, and
Yeah.
sustain what I think is a really important part of our American heritage, that outdoor heritage.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, if someone's listening right now and they just are dying to get involved with Trout Unlimited, how would they do that?
Sure. Well, you can go on our website, and you can learn more about us really, really easily that way. And I know you're going to put it up on your Facebook.
It is up on Facebook right now.
landskytu.com, and so that's a really good way. They're more than welcome to get in touch with me directly. They can do that through the website. There's how to contact me, President at Land of Sky, and if they have questions or they'd like to talk personally about our chapter or the organization. TU is a large national organization. They can go online at the national level, and they can join.
And I've got your up on the Facebook.com God's Great Land / God's Great Land of the Wild. I've got your email address and those types of things to contact you. I would encourage, even if there's a young person out there listening and maybe they don't have that program in school, they might be the one to be able to kick off by just giving you a phone call, correct?
Yeah, sure. I got a great guy, Tom Brewster, who runs that program, and we're always, like I say, we have put down, we've written, we've signed up to trying to add one program per year. That's part of our strategic plan. So we are looking for good candidate schools. You need a good member of the faculty really to work
Right.
with there, and you need an interest amongst the student body, and that's really easy. That's the easy part, really, because kids get excited about that.
Now,
and-
there's one question I've got to ask, because Reba mentioned this last week, and that just sounded too good to be true. But she said something about women joining Trout Unlimited was at a very low cost.
Yeah, zero is the cost. Zero.
She was right.
Zero is the cost for the first year.
Okay.
Trout Unlimited is Trout Unlimited is working really, really hard to make sure everybody knows that they're welcome as members. We really see our outdoor heritage as not male or female.
Right,
That's
right.
an American thing that we have, and we like to see couples enjoy it. We like to see young women get involved in it. We like to see kids involved in it, families involved in it, and if you're a lady who'd like to join Trout Unlimited, your individual membership for the first year is complimentary. We
great.
really, really want to reach into that population and get them involved.
And that is also, that link is also up on our website. And that membership then allows them to, that gives them membership into the local chapter also, right?
Right.
So if somebody just wanted to come visit the first time, could they just call you or send an email and come visit?
They don't have to call, they can just show up.
Okay.
I mean, they just show up. They show up at the REI on the second Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and they are more than welcome. And we have guests come all the time
Right.
just to try and see who we are and what we're about. And it's a great place to learn about the organization. Because like any organization, it's people.
Yeah.
And they get a chance to meet people and get a feel for who we are, what we think is important, and decide whether they'd like to be part of it.
I even liked, going back, I wrote this little note down into the to the school program. You were saying some of the kids are even filtering the water and using it to grow plants with hydroponically.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's North Buncombe High School.
Okay.
You know, those kids are at a higher level than some of
Right.
our programs, you know, and they have some very bright and scientifically inclined young folks there. So, which is wonderful, you know, because then you really start to understand, you know, the whole cycle. you
Sure.
know, of how not just how a trout survives, but how a trout contributes to the survival of the other things around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the great things I found out about when we were up on the trout streams in Canada, the salmon run was going on, and you know, you look around and all these fish are going to die. Every single
Well,
one
they're
of them
already
you're seeing,
dead, you know.
or are dead, or are going to die, and you're thinking, well, why can I only keep 5? You know, and that was the question that. And then we got to meet a ranger that was on the stream, and this was up in the bush in Canada, and we got to talking to him, and we asked him that question. You know, and you start learning these things that I'm sure these kids are learning that, well, that's what the fry feed off of for the first several weeks is all that dead meat then falls down between the rocks and over the eggs, and that's what they're feeding on for the first couple weeks of life.
Maybe even months. Yeah.
So you need all those fish dying in the stream
Yep.
to have a healthy a stream for those fish to end up growing in on and heading back out to the lake or the ocean for that matter and growing big and strong and
It's
catching
all
them next year.
It's all connected. Yeah,
Absolutely
it's
is.
all connected, and they they give back to the stream that gave birth to them.
Absolutely.
In a really wonderful way, and it's why in some rivers out west, where at a time when people didn't understand quite as much and maybe built dams that blocked the salmon run and that sort of thing.
Right.
What they found was over time that those streams, which once not only had salmon runs but outstanding trout fishing, all the trout just went away.
Yeah.
You know, because it was an all interconnected system there, and somebody broke a link in that chain, and it can take a while putting it back together, but it can be put back together. That's the wonderful thing about it. Nature has a tremendous ability to heal itself, and as we learn and get smarter, it gives us the opportunity not only to not repeat the same mistakes, but a lot of ways to go back and fix some of the mistakes that have been made.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we're talking with our friend John Mico about the Lando Sky Trout Unlimited chapter, about education and conservation opportunities, about his passion for Western North Carolina trout fishing, education, hands-on experience. You know, the great thing about it is if you're fishing, you're learning. And if you're learning, you're going to be learning about how do I match a fly. You'll learn about etymology. If you want to get good at catching fish, you'd better get good at etymology, and that's understanding the bugs that are in the stream. And so we're going to be diving into more of that when we return. We'll be right back with more God's Great Land of the Wild radio show on 95.7 The Choice. More right after these messages.
Supporting the local community. WGNW 95.7 The Choice.
95.7 The Choice would like to thank Dry Pros for their generous support. Dry Pros has 27 years of experience in the cleaning, restoration, mold remediation, and waterproofing of homes and businesses just like yours. Whether it's a routine cleaning or restoration from flood damage or mold, the team at Dry Pros has the experience to get it done right the first time. Cleaning all types of floors, windows, fine area rugs, and upholstery, they cover it all. For more information, their number is 828-277-9511. That's 828-277-9511, or visit them on the web at www.drypros.com. That's www.drypros.com.
Programming at 95.7 The Choice is made possible with the generous support of business partners like Area 22 Guitars. Area 22 Guitars is Western North Carolina's only boutique guitar shop. Whether it's an American-made all-tube hand-wired amp like Matchless, Divided by 13, Carr, or Fargen, or a U.S.-built custom luthier electric guitar brand like Anderson, PWE, Zion, Rowan, or Gatto, Area 22 Guitars specializes in the unique needs of the discerning musician. They carry a full line of boutique effect pedals like Keeley, Exotic, Rockbox, Menatone, and Wampler. And their acoustic guitars include Breedlove, Larrivee, Eastman, Bedell, and Crafter. Area 22 Guitars, not your average guitar shop. For more information, go to area22guitars.com or call them at 828-884-2222. That's 828-884-2222.
.7 The Choice would like to express our thanks to our business supporters like Ichiban School of Self-Defense. Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts provides a safe, family-oriented environment for people of all ages and skill levels to be able to train and prosper, both mentally and physically. Whether your interests are physical fitness, self-defense, competition, or just a healthy outlet for stress release, Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts will provide the tools to reach your goal. Their programs provide a well-rounded athletic approach to martial arts in a safe, fun, family environment. For more information, go to ichibanmma.com. That's ichibanmma.com, or call them at 828-423-0662. That's 828-423-0662.
Well, welcome back to the God's Great Land of the Wild radio show. We're talking with John Mico, president of Land O' Sky Trout Unlimited chapter. And we're talking about deep brook trout theology, education and conservation. I mean, we're just talking about some things.
I warned you not to get me started.
Well, no, that's okay. That's okay. Got a question for you. You touched a little bit on it about the etymology of the guy that comes in, and I know you guys have a term for it on your website, and it's called bug mania.
Bug mania.
Bug mania.
Yeah,
What is bug
yeah.
mania?
Well, bug mania is just an enthusiasm for an understanding of the food chain that allowed trout to live. You
Gotcha.
know, and you know, trout fishing is one of those kind of gateway sports. You know, you get into it and you think you're going to learn about fishing, and then you realize you got to learn about fish, and then you realize you got to learn about all the things that support the fish, and then you learn
Right.
about the things that support the things that support the fish. And
Right.
the next thing you know, you're the president of Trout Unlimited.
That's
You're
good.
talking on the radio, sounding like you know what you're doing. Yeah. So.
I was a little bit worried, bug mania. I thought we was getting ready to have a cage fight or something.
No. It's just it's an area that's especially intimidating for people that are newer to the sport. You know,
that's
they
good.
they take their class and they learn to tie the knot and rig the thing and make the cast, and they think they're good to go, and then they start hanging out with trout fishermen, and all they want to talk about is bugs.
Yeah.
You know, and they use a lot of Latin.
Right.
You know, and it can get a little spooky for people. So we want to demystify that, and we want to help people understand what trout make their living on.
Right.
And that helps you be a better angler, and it helps you be a better steward, too, because you realize you're going to take care of the fish, you've got to take care of the bugs.
Absolutely. Well, I know that may be one that I show up to, because he's coming in May, is he?
He is,
not?
yeah, Dave Penrose. And he, like I say, this guy is... He is a real expert on this, and he puts it in very understandable terms, and we're very, very pleased to have him come talk with us.
That's really good, because growing up here, I had two concepts as far as fly fishing. I used to take my little vise out in the woods with me and everything.
Good
If
for
there's
you,
a hatch
yeah.
coming off, I'd get it and look at the color and try my best to tie something. And I found out if you can match the color and the size, you're 90% there.
Oh, you are, yes.
So I'm sure Mr. Penrose is going to tell us the other, 90+%. But of how to get the details to where it really works good, not just color and size,
Yeah, like I say, he knows more about it than you could ever hope
Yeah.
to learn. I mean, he is a true entomologist, and specifically an aquatic entomologist.
That's great.
So
Well-
we're real lucky to have him, and it's the kind of program we always try to put together at our meetings. So
I like the thought of it because having grown up in upstate New York, very big dry fly hatches would go on. Now, I was a wet fly fisherman and also nymph, but I was young. You know, I was 14, 15, 16 when I started. So when I came here, though, it totally changed. Not only that, we were talking earlier, I started losing my eyesight with the smaller flies that they tend to have here. I've gone strictly almost to nymph fishing. Okay?
I've seen some of these 32 flies. No way.
it can get pretty crazy. You know, big fish. But there's no
That's
fly
what
fish saying elephants eat peanuts. You know, you can catch big fish on little tiny
Little.
flies, but every fly fisherman enjoys it when the big bugs are hatching, because then you can take out those big number 10s and number
yeah.
12s, whether they're green drakes or whatever,
Right.
and you can really have a blast with it. And the fish like it too, because then they're not eating morsels. You know, that's like a big T-bone steak to them, and they're more than happy to come grab it, and the trout fisherman's more than happy to give it to them.
Man, I just remember that. So that's why I'm saying that at the Bug Mania is where I'm going to be, because
Well, come with us and get some bug mania.
I've never kind of, outside of nymph fishing, and I know pretty much where to go with the nymph,
Right.
you know, but anyway, I just want to find out more of what's going on here.
Well, I got to tell you, if you're only going to go one way, go nymphing. That's right.
Yeah.
A trout takes about 90% of its nutrition below the surface.
Yeah, less energy expelled.
It's not near as well. I guess it can be exciting, but I love the top.
But everybody
water.
loves it when
Yeah.
it's on the top water. Yeah, yeah.
You get bigger fish on the bottom.
You do.
It's, from what I've seen, my experience.
Okay, John. River cleanup, stockings.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, do you guys get involved in this type of stuff too?
Yeah, we absolutely do. We the North Mills River, which almost every local fly fisherman around here knows pretty well,
Right.
is our adopted stream.
Okay.
Under the adopted stream
And that's
program.
pretty new, isn't it?
It's
like 4 or 5 years ago?
It goes back as far as I go with the chapter, and how far it predates my arrival, I'm not sure.
I
but
think it's
yeah.
a pretty new stream to you.
And that means that 5 times a year we do help the fisheries guys with stock in the stream.
Right.
And that helps to distribute the fish, which helps the fish. And when you spread fish out, you spread fishermen out.
Yeah.
So that increases the quality of the angling experience for people. And we've instituted a program this year where every time we help with the stocking, we do a river cleanup at the same time.
Cool.
So we have a crew that's doing litter pickup and all that kind of thing. And so we do that in March, April, May. And then we do it again in October and November, 5 times a year. So.
Ah, that's cool. So if a person wants to, you know, what I find, and you can tell me, do you find that, are all your people that get involved with you fly fishermen, or are some of them just into the conservation and education stuff and come out to help clean up the stream and stock just because they're interested in that, or are most of your people fly fishermen?
Most of our members are fly fishermen, you know.
Okay.
Most of them are, but not exclusively. And we will get folks who will come to the stocking or to some of our meetings who are thinking about getting into fly fishing.
Right.
And they think it's some magic thing,
Right,
you know,
right.
and it's just another way to fish, you know.
Right.
And sometimes we do have work if we're doing work along stream to stabilize the banks or build fencing or do cleanups. Sometimes we'll get young folks who are there for fulfilling community service obligations for
Gotcha.
school and that kind of stuff. And you know, that's fertile recruiting for us. You know, we love to see those young folks, and if you can get a fly rod in their hand and get them a handshake from a rainbow trout, you know, you might have just got yourself a new fly fisherman and one more person who cares about our streams.
Yep.
And it is a gateway sport, because I got involved with, I met an old couple on the stream. My neighbor had a fly rod, and I took his fly rod, went to the local outdoor store, got a big brown drake mayfly that they said was hatching at the time. I was about 15. Got on the stream, buddy, I was tearing them up. And then the hatch changed, and our stream, man, it was incredible to watch the dry fly hatches, the amount of fish that were coming out. And I'm not catching anything. This old couple comes down the stream, Marge and Abe Hetty, my adopted grandparents, I say. And he called me Farmer from that day. He said, Farmer, what's going on? I was like, man, I can't catch anything. I was catching, and now I'm not. And he was like, what are you doing? So from there it started. She taught me how to duck hunt. He taught me how to deer hunt and grouse hunt. So it was a gateway sport in my
wonderful.
life.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think a lot of folks have a similar experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where they sort of caught that love of those things from someone who'd done it for a long time, who cared a lot about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's good to see, though, now there's organizations out there that are purposely doing that, instead of I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. falling into it, now we have people that are actively looking to doing that. And I even noticed from talking to Jeff, I think is his first name, but he's got the competition fly fishing for the young kids.
Yes, yeah.
You know, a great thing. We had him on the show several months ago. Great guy. See a lot of kids. Not my cup of tea, but a lot of kids are getting involved in those types of things. But let me ask you this. Tell us about your most memorable fly fishing experience.
Oh, it's probably, one that got away. I don't know. They always seem to come down to that. I don't know if it would be all that specific, but, I don't know if it's a specific experience, but I'll just say this. It's not catching a fish.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those many just magic moments that you experience when you're out on a stream, whether you're, standing out in the Rogue River in southern Oregon on a misty morning, and a red-tailed hawk calls out first thing as it takes off, or
I hear that.
Just, I think probably the most memorable experiences I've had when I was fly fishing really had nothing to do with a particular fish. It was just every now and then you're just caught up and you go, wow.
Yeah.
How lucky I am to be here.
Yeah.
And that's what motivates you to make sure that your kids and your grandkids can share that same thing.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I always ask this question too. Who had the most influence in your life?
Oh, that's easy, my dad. Yeah. I'm my father's son, yeah. And he's not that avid a fisherman,
Right.
He's not that avid a fisherman, but I certainly am my father's son. I told you he was a career naval officer, commanded submarines, and a very outdoor guy, a sailor. That's how I got my love of the water, and my dad spent more of his time on the surface, and I started figuring out there was stuff going on below, and that kind of drew me in. But his love of family, his love of country, he's really the number one influence in my life. There's no doubt about that at all. And now he and my mom are living large out in Hawaii. And
is that right?
Yeah. So it's just it's really good. They're doing great. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, I want to thank John for sharing his passion for fly fishing, for our environment, for educating those who want to be educated, especially for the time that Land of Sky is taken to put into our kids in this arena, because I'm a big one on building relationships with kids outdoors. I spent so many hours with mine in the outdoors that it's incredible. And I just want to thank you guys for being leaders in Western North Carolina when it comes to that type of stuff. And Trout Unlimited, but specifically, I know there's the major organization, but what we're seeing here is local people involved with what is going on. When you see that Trout Unlimited sign, when you see the meetings, I would encourage you to go in, take a look at the calendar. I've got all that information posted up. John's email's in there. The website, there's actually a lot that you can go through. I found their website very interesting. It was very easy to do this interview because of that. And you can, again, facebook.com/God's Great Land of the Wild, and follow the many links. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with the Outdoor Life segment, and we will explore how a salmon finds its way from the big wide ocean to the same stream hundreds of miles away and to the exact spawning grounds of its birth. Stick around for more with God's Great Land of the Wild, and we'll be back after these messages.
Supporting the local community. WGNW 95.7 The Choice.
95.7 The Choice would like to thank Dry Pros for their generous support. Dry Pros has 27 years of experience in the cleaning, restoration, mold remediation, and waterproofing of homes and businesses just like yours. Whether it's a routine cleaning or restoration from flood damage or mold, the team at Dry Pros has the experience to get it done right the first time. Cleaning all types of floors, windows, fine area rugs, and upholstery, they cover it all. For more information, their number is 828-277-9511. That's 828-277-9511, or visit them on the web at www.drypros.com. That's www.drypros.com.
Programming at 95.7 The Choice is made possible with the generous support of business partners like Area 22 Guitars. Area 22 Guitars is Western North Carolina's only boutique guitar shop. Whether it's an American-made all-tube hand-wired amp like Matchless, Divided by 13, Carr, or Fargen, or a US-built custom luthier electric guitar brand like Anderson, PWE, Zion, Rowan, or Gatto, Area 22 Guitars specializes in the unique needs of the discerning musician. They carry a full line of boutique effect pedals like Keeley, Exotic, Rockbox, Menatone, and Wampler. And their acoustic guitars include Breedlove, Larrivee, Eastman, Bedell, and Crafter. Area 22 Guitars, not your average guitar shop. For more information, go to area22guitars.com or call them at 828-884-2222. That's 828-884-2222.
.7 The Choice would like to express our thanks to our business supporters like Ichiban School of Self-Defense. Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts provides a safe, family-oriented environment for people of all ages and skill levels to be able to train and prosper, both mentally and physically. Whether your interests are physical fitness, self-defense, competition, or just a healthy outlet for stress release, Ichiban Mixed Martial Arts will provide the tools to reach your goal. Their programs provide a well-rounded athletic approach to martial arts in a safe, fun, family environment. For more information, go to ichibanmma.com. That's ichibanmma.com, or call them at 828-423-0662. That's 828-423-0662.
Okay, we're back and you're listening to the God's Great Land of the Wild radio show on 95.7 The Choice. I'm your host, Brent, with my co-host, Sam, and we were talking with John Michael about the Land O' Sky Trout Unlimited chapter. He's the president of that chapter, and you can find out more about John and the Land O' Sky Trout Unlimited chapter by going to facebook.com/God's Great Land of the Wild. Okay, and we've got links, and I'm going to be putting more up after the show even, so you might want to check back later on because you'll find a lot more. On the Outdoor Life segment, we're exploring how a salmon navigates. Ever thought about how a salmon finds its way to the big ocean, hundreds of miles away, to the same stream, to the exact same spawning grounds of its birth? Well, you're at the place. And I'm just recapping an article that I read, and again, after the show, later on here, I'll put this up too. And this was written by Brian Thomas, who has a master's in science degree. And he wrote about salmon and the sophisticated compass cells that they have now found that they have located up in the front part of their nose, right? And how a salmon finds its way from the ocean to its stream of birth. And in a lot of instances, you know, they're within a couple hundred yards of probably where their egg was dropped. Mm-hmm. And I've heard guys say they get right into within 2 or 3 feet of the area they were born from, okay? But studies have shown that fish use their acute sense of smell to navigate. They have special receptors in the front of their nose, and it detects specific chemicals in very small, tiny amounts. We were talking about this off air, and I don't know quite what the number is. I haven't looked that part up, but very small nonetheless. John was even saying how a buddy of his doesn't use nail polish glue to do the heads because the fish can smell that, and it just makes perfect sense to me. When they can find their way back to their place of birth, right? Other studies have also shown, though, that salmon have an internal compass, and researchers have finally discovered where it was at, right? And it was hard to find because it was so small. Individual cells contain microscopic cluster of magnetite crystals, the same minerals we find in handheld compasses. And I look, you can get online and then Google magnetite crystals and find there's some animals that actually have this element in their bodies. Salmon have it up in their heads, right? They isolated them from the salmon's nose tissue that they use, their olfactory tissue, and observed them under a microscope. And what they found was a rotating larger magnetic field around the tissue caused the magnetic cells to rotate in sync. And the cells were observed to rotate in the direction of an external magnetic field. All right? Now this is all written up in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences by the University of North Carolina, and apparently the cells surrounding the magnite contain cells that detect and transmit the angle and the rotation and all sorts of sensory nerve information that connects back to the fish's brain. And then the fish coordinates chemicals, magnetic, and other information, enable them to successfully navigate. They've even taken blind salmon, I read in another study, and put them on out to see how they end up handling it, and angles of the sun and all sorts of things. Very interesting. What is incredible is that for that magnetic cell to work, they can't have a lot of them. The reason it took them so long to find is that there's one of those cells for every 10,000 of the olfactory cells, approximately, okay, in the fish's nasal tissue. If there was too many of them, they would override each other with a magnetic field, okay, so they suppose. If they were closely packed together, they would interfere with each other, the article said. Because of their internal compass, needles would produce a locally strong magnetic field that would override if there was a bunch of them, and it would be rendered useless. Designed in such a way, have a specific amount, all right? And the ingenious microscopic compass cells would not even work if they were not distributed around the other surrounding cells because they need some insulation, okay? Why would anybody argue, here's my point, why would anybody argue that a fully functional compass, complete with a spinning needle, could ever be arranged by accident? Yet evolution does just that. It's an assertion based on a pre-existing commitment to evolution, of which y'all know I'm a creation science type of guy, and I've studied a lot on it, okay? And again, going back to, you can't say for certain, but evolution is not a certain science either. When Richard Dawkins was asked to give one example of evolution goo to you, he couldn't do it because they have no such scientific evidence. In fact, the assertion that a compass evolved, which meant they constructed themselves piece by piece without intelligent input, ignores the fact that the compass structure cannot work without each part or its function is destroyed. In other words, for a compass to work, you need a base plate, you need a housing, you need a magnetic needle, you need a bearing, you need a whole lot of other stuff too that I haven't brought into the conversation as I looked up how compasses are made and how they work. Take one piece away of the compass and the compass doesn't work. Yet evolution says the compass in the salmon's head came fully functioning. It would have had to. Otherwise, inside the salmon's magnetite, there's all those parts are inside the salmon's cell too, as far as when he's using them for directions. Got to be for a compass to work. So you take away one piece of the functioning magnetic cell, the cell doesn't work in the salmon's head. So how does evolution know that it needs the next step and it needs a needle, it needs a base plate? It doesn't. What it says is every compass that I've ever seen that works here in my world has got an engineer behind it, okay? Hence, the salmon's compass in his nose has got an engineer behind it, it's got a designer behind it. Listen, evolution is not so much about getting to the truth, okay? It's a lie, it's a goal, and it's about interfering with a relationship with the Creator. Understanding God's creation, the fall, and the gospel of Jesus Christ is connected with your Creator. And that Creator is Jesus Christ, okay? The Bible says this, he who has the Son has life, he who does not have the Son of God does not have life. That's in 1 John 5:12. Man, get into God's Word. Read it for yourself. Don't just drink the Kool-Aid based on what somebody else says about evolution or says about creation. Read it for yourself and judge it by God's Word. This is Brent. Enjoy God's great land of the wild. We'll see you next week on the radio show. God bless.